Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Doctor Who review, episode number 61. Now, this one we are reviewing the third last story that ever aired for classic Doctor Who, but from what I read online, this was the last one they ever produced before the series ended. This is Ghostlight. Yeah, from what I read, apparently the two that come after this one, Curse Frederick and Survival, those were produced before this one and the previous story, Battlefield. Yep. Now, this story was released from October 4th to 18th of 1989. And if you're curious, was this a three-parter? Yes, it was. Why did I pick in this one? Because this one has a bit of character development for Ace. Yes. Where Doctor and Ace, they arrive at this, there's also this guy with these mutton chop style sideburns. I mean, my gosh. Like, it's Victorian era England. Okay? Here's the thing about the Victorian era. Whenever I see pictures of guys in this era, I'm never a big fan of seeing the big, bushy style sideburn beards that they had to frickin' wear. It looks weird. I'm sure at the time they thought this was cool. From a modern perspective, it looks silly. Why the heck would you grow your facial hair like that for and leave this part completely clean? Yes, this guy is a reverend, where he basically is here to discuss with Josiah Smith his radical theories on Darwinism. Yes. And Sam talking. It's like basically this is supposed to be Darwin, because Darwinism was conceived by Darwin himself. And this apparently is set in 1883. Yes. And of course, basically, this is also Perryville. And this is something I think is quite strange for this story. It's a bottle show. What do I mean by that? A bottle show is one set. You don't go outside the entire set the whole time. Yeah, they spend the whole story of this one is set inside this Victorian mansion. If you're curious about this guy, he is known as the Light. He appears halfway through part 2. Yes. One thing I at least gotta praise the fact is this atmosphere. That's one thing. So the Doctor used to arrive like, oh, is this some laboratory? Yeah, it turns out this is Perryville, the place where Ace is from, but not present day. No. This is the past. Excuse me. And of course, this is a haunted house episode. Now, this is the first time I have seen this story in years. Unlike other stories I would probably revisit, this is not one I revisit because it never comes to mind. Oh yeah, and also we had this weird thing where, oh yeah, we had this woman named Guinevere, where she's the ward of Josiah Smith. Yeah, and this woman who's the head person in charge. Yeah, it's in part 3. This actually is her mother, and also in part 3, Sue turned to stone for reasons. And the Light, oh boy, this guy is behind on the times. He apparently does not know man evolved. Oh, the whole thing with the Reverend. Yeah, he's taken care of about halfway through, pretty much the end of part 1, pretty much at the start of part 1, where he's drugged, and he's knocked out, wakes up, eats a banana, and turns into a monkey. And the next time we see him, he's a frickin' husk. Yeah, he's a husk. Now, as for why the heck he's like this, I have no idea. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit of a confusing story. I do like the environment. There's at one point Ace, you see Ace in the story you see at the start she's wearing her signature outfit that she's worn since her debut back in Dragonfire. Here she's seen the beginning wearing it, and then she's given, change of clothes. First changes into a tuxedo. Yes, a men's tuxedo. And she even has Guinevere dressed in this outfit too. I'm like, that's interesting. It's almost like I'm fast friends. And then Guinevere tries to murder her in the finale. Now here's the thing, and one thing is never really explained. It's like you watch the story and there's several questions you ask once you basically wrap this up. Number one, when the heck did the light arrive here on this ship? 2, where the heck did this guy even come from? The guy himself reminds me, like, appearance-wise, reminds me of a character who appeared on the original series. It was from the episode, I think it's in the children's show Lead. It was from the finale of this. It was from the final season show. From an episode where the budget was so bad, and we have a character who they recognize as a Q, who was played by a lawyer. And it's an episode that Walter King hates. Yes, the Light character reminds me so much of him. And it's like this guy apparently he hates the Doctor. Control, basically, here's something interesting about Control. Like, the actress who plays her in the episode, and this you might find quite interesting about this woman. Okay, she's played in the episode by Sharon Deuce. This is something you might find interesting about the character. Apparently, Emma Thompson was originally considered to play this character. Thinking, really? Emma Thompson, one of the stars of Harry Potter series. Yes, a lot of the time when it comes to Doctor Who would have these actors, because they're British actors, a lot of whom I've never heard of before. Emma Thompson, I have heard of her. Now, in case you're curious, like what happens to these characters after the story wraps up? Nothing. He just left. You basically have him leave. Gwendolyn, I think, is supposedly dead. Which, when they turn to stone, it's like it's never resolved. The Reverend himself, basically, it just turned. He's just. It's like every period of the story just either died or just basically left Earth. Well. Yeah. It's a bit odd, to say the least. The inspectors, I think he's supposedly killed. Yeah. This is not one of those stories where, like, some characters die and some just leave and never seen again. Light himself. Well, he pops up. Apparently he's... Okay, so apparently I'm reading online. Apparently the guy is an Eternal. You know, those people who popped up in Enlightenment. Yeah, the guy is an Eternal. Yeah, the people who are really, really bored because they're immortal. Yep. Yeah, this is, I think, the first time we had the Eternal appear since Enlightenment. They only appear a couple times. Yeah, just this story and, well, Ghostlight. Apparently they also returned for an episode in Jodie Whittaker's run. Yeah, they've had that a few times. Even the episode Torchwood. Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, the whole Eternal thing basically is a bit baffling. Now, at least the character Like is explored. Everyone else is basically just nothing. What the other character, Mrs. Gross? She, of course, does return after this. Well, her earlier appearances in the novel version of this. of this book. Yeah, and then she's never seen again. I at least got one thing I praise this for this episode. Solveig looks very beautiful in this episode. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's something quite strange about this episode. Excuse me. Yeah, we don't see the town Perry presenting to the final story of the series, which I'm looking forward to discussing that one in the future because, but I kind of feel as though with this story in particular, it's like some stuff was basically just cut off for no reason. Like, it felt as though basically stuff was missing, but I like the whole ghost aspect here. We reveal that in present why you see apparently Ace has been to this house before, in the past, but kind of in the future. Okay, where she burned down the house, and then of course she regrets in the episode where she wanted to actually blow it up instead. Also, the Doctor's last line of this episode is "Wicked," which apparently was actually supposed to be "That's my girl." The whole term "Wicked" that was actually his idea, which yeah, that's actually quite smart Doctor to say. Bit of an oddball type story. I kind of feel as though that this story felt a bit rushed. Yes. Do I think that this story should have been this should have been additional episode for this one, or do I think that the 3-parter was worth it? I think they should have given it one more episode, maybe 2 at most, but I think one more should have been fine. 3, I didn't think it was enough for the style of the story it was. It should have been a 4-part, not 3. But that's just the core. If you like every other story, you're a 3-parter or 4-parter. That's basically how it is for the remainder of the run. Okay, so that's episode of you. Next up, when I get back, I'm gonna be doing about 3 comic corners, 2 comic corners, and I'll probably do another Doctor Who one. You'll find out see which one it is. Okay, next video. Bye.